You are listening to Vibrant Purposeful Living Radio with Lou Paradise. Tune in monthly with Lou and Dr. Pat on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Lou is an expert in pain management, educational health, and wellness, and the innovator of the leading pain relief cream, Purposeful. Lou's passion is to help everyone experience positive solutions for life. Negatives are just positives waiting to happen. Awaken the vibrant life within you. Tune in today.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Listen, I am Dr. Pat, and I'm here with the most amazing Lou Paradise today on Vibrant Purposeful Living Radio with Lou and with me. We're going to be talking about something that Lou and I have been talking about for years, but not quite this way. We're going to be talking about homeopathy and what is it about homeopathy that's leading the way right now in the world to slow down the aging process. There's something happening, and yet very few people know what they can do about hormonal imbalance, fatigue, things that are going on in your body, inflammation. I could go on, but I won't. Lou, it's great to have you here. Now, look, you are someone that most people know from your role in Purposeful, but you're also now the creator of Vibrant Purposeful Living. What you and I do and have done for 15 years is bring a new narrative to health, healthy living, new ways of stepping fully into who we are. Today, you've got a brand new conversation, don't you, my friend?
Oh, absolutely. And Pat, just like you were saying, the issue with regard to hormonal imbalance, it's kind of like everybody knows kind of that something going on there, but most people don't realize it is probably the most significant contributor to every disease state known to mankind, especially autoimmune diseases. Look, we know that hormonal imbalances, as a Marine Corps combat veteran, working with veterans, that PTSD and other disorders and depression, or all those things come exactly by the nature of hormones being out of balance. As we know, the most essential thing, health isn't necessarily just the absence of a disease state, but the body in homeostasis, in balance, so that it's optimum miracle that it is. In fact, the body not only is a miracle, but if we do the things necessary to give it what it needs to support that miracle, it can be the miracle it was intended to be. People would feel far better. They'd have more energy. They'd be able to get restorative sleep. Muscle mass would be appropriate. Fat burning machine that the body is. All those things are bogged down from hormonal imbalances. And women, of course, have a more dramatic effect in certain areas of their lives.
Yeah.
To say the very least.
Yeah.
Right. And so.
And we're tired of hearing all you guys tell us that.
Because you know why? Because we know until now, where the men are experiencing how those moans are jumping around and jacking you up, then all of a sudden saying, "Oh my God, I think I just might have had a hot flash or something." It's like, that's not cool.
No.
Right. So in seriousness, though, but the issue with regard to bone health, skin health, cardiovascular, cognitive health, brain acuity, all of these things are all part of our dilemma, and in terms of hormonal imbalance, and the issue about what do we do about it? How do we help the body get in balance? Well, we know that chemical drugs and what have you don't get us there. These are not elegant medicines, which homeopathy is an elegant medicine. It's like, and when we talk about this a little bit, it's like it puts this beautiful kiss on every single cell in the body, wraps it like it's wrapping it in love. And now when those two things happen, don't we feel like, my goodness, that everything is like perfect? Well, that's where we could achieve and get the point of battling and finally looking at these things that are kind of hidden. They're out there in the open, but they're kind of hidden, and uncovering them, finding a place to start, and really making a contribution for people's lives right in the middle of this very important area of what we can do about it. What can we do about it? Well, we can do a lot about it now.
Yeah. One of the things I learned, funny story, right, about homeopathy, because listen, this whole thing was new to me until I got sick.
Yeah.
In 2004. And mystery disease, right? And you know what that journey's like.
Sure.
And what I learned about homeopathy, and that's what we're starting out talking about, is the miracle of the body's ability to heal by looking at how we can activate certain parts of our healing system within the body. So
Hmm.
one of the things we're going to talk about today, and what I discovered the hard way, by the way,
Yeah.
with homeopathy and Dr. Darvish, is less is more. So normally when you go to get medications or you go to grab that bottle of pain relief off the shelf, you say, oh, I'm in a lot of pain, I'm going to take 3 of them.
Hmm.
Homeopathy, I learned the hard way the first time I was introduced to oregano oil drops.
Wow.
Less is more. You
Yeah.
take a little bit, triggers the natural healing system, and
Hmm.
miraculously we get better. And
Yeah.
that is the new narrative for today. It's not about throwing tons and tons of things. It's looking at the right way to activate the body's natural system, isn't it, Lou?
Absolutely. And that's the point. The body's makeup of cellular structures, proteins, metabolites, hormone compounds, enzyme action, all of them are in small little molecular dosages. We don't have electrical, we're body electric. We have an electrical system, but it's nanocurrents, frequencies, even from a point of looking at the microenvironment. This is probably the key. And we could demonstrate to people how significant the microenvironment it is in terms of the construct of the body's processes of healing and health and vitality by looking at blood flow, just as a little quick snippet. We all know that arteries are very important, and veins, because if something happens to them things, you got some problems,
Woo!
right? Some big problems.
Oh boy.
Right? But arteries do a tremendous amount of stuff to bring things into the body, especially oxygen, some digestive enzyme piece, and some molecules, but it delivers it through microcirculation. So if we look at the arteries in the body, it's 11.5% of the whole system of cardiovascular circulation. Veins, 14.5%. Microcirculation. There we go. Microcirculation, microdose,
Micro. This is the new word.
right? 73.4%. 73.4. It's responsible for delivering all oxygen, nutrients, enzyme action, getting rid of all of the waste products from 37 trillion cells, which is what the count is, and how many cells we actually have in our body. It is in cardiovascular health. It's around the cardiology in terms of the brain function, organ function, pancreas, liver, all of the thalamus, the hypothalamus, it's the pituitary, the thyroid, the adrenals, every single thing is affected in the microenvironment. Microdosing makes all kinds of sense in the world when you start thinking about that whole idea of this less is more.
Yeah.
And why is it that people think, well, if it's little, there's nothing in it. And I'm going to kind of I'm going to blow a hole in that myth today on this program about comparing it to, well, what do hormones look like in the body? What about metabolites? All these structures. Where's the activity of those hormones as it affects the human body compared to the microdosed homeopathic medicine? And I literally have a chart. I'm just going to read a couple of items off that can help people understand. If you don't think there's anything in it, let's just look at that and blow a hole in that myth. We're going to put a big one in there because we can. And it's an astounding part of people starting to understand what this all really looks like, so they can get a visual idea. It's like, oh my God, this is how it works. Why are we taking all these chemicals? And it's like, I want to have a little tiny knickknack on the wall of my house. Instead of getting a tack hammer, I'm going to get a 5-pound sledgehammer. And that's what, unfortunately, that's what we do to ourselves as opposed to the microenvironment. So this is going to be really cool for people to know, and they're going to get a lot out of what we're going to be talking about today, because less is more.
Well, I don't want to take any credit for this as a woman, but I'm going to in a minute.
I hope so.
One of the things we discovered as women, and this is related to what we're talking about today, is we went down the pathway of course, menopause. I mean, let's talk about that. Menopause, hormone imbalance, whatever you want to call it, affects the brain, affects the body. And back in the day, Lou, I don't know if you know this. I think Aurora knows this, but you may not. What they prescribed for us was birth control pills.
Yeah.
Then we found out about what the heck that does, and increase in cancer, of course. So what happened? Again, natural medicine to the rescue.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there with Darvish, Dr. Darvish. Oh my God, did I just say Darvish? She's like you. I call you. But I'm sitting there And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, we're thinking about what can we do? So she builds a compound. Now we have something called bioidentical hormones. Now we have
Mhm.
something which we put on
Yep.
topically, naturally. And what do you think happens? It works. That's
Incredible.
why we're here today talking about it,
That's right.
right? The other part of this that you're going to talk about in the show is people know I am an advocate for Lyme disease.
Mm.
Most deadly disease right now, fastest growing on the planet. Conventional ways, not really effective.
Hmm.
What steps in? Natural medicine, almost 15 years ago, by a handful of doctors, natural doctors saying, wait a minute, less is more, but let's go through the balancing process. So here we are today.
Mm.
Is it a mistake? Why is it taking us so long to have this conversation?
I think one of the things that's primary is that perception is a very strong thing. And when you're bombarded with all kinds of advertisement, right? And you've been marketed to a fairly well, that you got to take this to relieve that symptom and that to relieve that symptom and this to relieve that symptom and all these other things. And you're going to go bounding about and jump around in the field of joy and love if you just take this medicine. If you're breathing, you got to have this medicine. If your eyes open in the morning, if your eyes close at night, you got to have that. It's a sick thing. And unfortunately, we've been bombarded with all kinds of information. So we live in the information age. Unfortunately for us, from a point of chemicals that are marketed to us, we live in the information overload age. People want to aspire to what they see in the television, right? They want to aspire what they hear. Oh my God, I want to feel that way. I want to look that way. I'm going to go to my doctor and start taking that medicine. So instead of the doctor saying, hey, by the way, let's really look at it diagnostically, because that's an important step. Everybody should understand that's what we are always advocates for that. Take a look at it from that perspective. They come to the doctor. It's like they go to their local used car dealer and ask them to give them the best kind of wax to shine their old car, as opposed to let the doctor do their job, let us do our job, but let those folks that are in the middle of this information pack have the best information, not the least information. So the perception is, well, if somebody said it on television, it must be true. Oh my God, right? If I heard it from this commercial that made me feel better, look better, and all those kinds of things, that must be what I need, because God, I need to have that. And yet we have what we have called opiate toxicity. Opiate addiction is huge. For the amount of medicines that are taken in this country now, we have the toxic epidemic now. We have a toxic epidemic of toxicity.
Yeah.
All of these things are, how in the world is it possible? So we don't get the information we need to make that leveraged piece off of that road we're traveling on, to go stop at that little cool store with the little tiny sign that says, by the way, why don't you want to find out why less is more, and how we can help, and how getting the body back into balance and doing the things it wants to do, because it is a miracle. And if we're not working with the miracle, then we're working against it.
Yeah.
Are we feeling better and better, or are we feeling sicker and sicker? And you may want to come over to this little door, knock on the door, and you'll see this big smiling face. I think Benny told me, just think of him as a big yellow smiling face. If you put the picture up there, brother man.
But
that's what
exactly. But here's the thing too, we're going to talk about today, and the evolution of this, and why we're bringing natural back. And the reason we have to talk about this, Lou, is because people don't realize that my grandmother, your grandmother, their grandmother, and their grandmother's grandmothers, they did not have that shelf, that pharmacy to go to pull something off and say, give me my 5-minute fix. They understood the power of natural. Now we have a term, homeopathy, that has come up, and it started in the 1800s with the term, but no, you can go back thousands of years.
That's right.
Thousands of years. And today's conversation, and what you're talking about today, is bringing the miracle of thousands of years of learning and history back to the forefront.
Absolutely. And that's a fabulous point. When we go back to the ancient Chinese, ancient Greek, we go back to indigenous people all over the world. They all had their compounds from the earth, from herbal compounds, from the jungle, from the woods, from animals, from minerals. They were able to do some things that were absolutely astounding to develop out what the body actually needed, that was in conjunction, and the synergy and energy of those medicinal compounds directly to the body. A lot of them had very interesting things they were doing in dilution, and also with the, looking at the pounding of certain herbal compounds to get the juices out, right? Then they put it in a diluted water, and then they would irrigate a lot of, or should say, they would excite and would activate those by shaking them up in a beaker or in a bowl, and actually started, believe it or not, the concept's idea of homeopathy. Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, the only doctor with a statue to his name in Washington, D.C. There's not a statue of another doctor on the planet in the United States except for Dr. Hahnemann, began to realize that something was about, he was a medical doctor from Germany, and he was sick and tired about the bloodletting and leeches and all kinds of stuff, fancy, funky kind of things they were doing back there, Pat.
I know.
Right? And he discovered, by the nature of his treatment of malaria, that when you took the Chacona and drank it full strength, it caused the same symptoms as malaria. And he got to the point where he realized dilution in itself wasn't enough. So dilution started to occur where he would call it, which is called a succussion. He would aggravate, which is what he said in his book. He would instigate and he would excite the electrical transfer of those compounds into the water. And the more that he diluted it, the stronger the medicine became, from a point of how it actually interacted with the body. It was like, if you think of homeopathic as elegant medicine, it's like I was saying before, it's like you put a kiss on every cell in the entire body, hold it, put love around it, and every single thing comes back to balance. And what was happening there, he found out, remedy is like a roadmap. See, the cells don't talk to each other the way we think in words, of course, and descriptions and stuff. And it talks to each other in images and electrical signatures. So what happens is the remedy is entered the body. It is there to subtly do the most important thing. The body's symptom is telling us, I want to heal. I need some help to get me there. In conventional medicine, a symptom means you got to go jack that damn symptom up, kick it in the butt, crush it over with a hammer, right? With all these compounds. To say for a moment that some of that might make sense to a degree is okay, but so these elegant, beautiful medicines, small little molecular structures, are identical to the body's natural compounds. The electrical part, this electrical signature, is like this image. It's like that deal that, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, this image goes back to the cell, and the cell's off track and saying, oh man, what do I do? I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And it gives it the information that it needs, the electrical imprint it needs, so the cell can retrace its step back to homeostasis, to health and healing and vitality. Now, this happens in we're talking about trillions and trillions of cells that actually move by homeopathic elegance. So that, because that's how the body reads it. Body knows what to do with it. And that's all it's saying. I just need the symptom reliever that is going to help me to get to homeostasis, not the symptom reliever to relieve the symptom. The symptom is speaking to the whole body, how it needs to adjust what it needs to heal it, to make it healthy and bring us back to optimum vitality and quality of life.
I mean, isn't that what was referred to at some point as resonance, of Schumann's work, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that referred to? And let's talk about that for a little bit,
Sure.
because there is a thing about human resonance, and it is directed to healing. We now know lots more. We now know, thanks to, so should I give Dr. Oz credit for coming out, outing energy medicine? And saying, but what you're talking about makes common sense if we really stop.
Exactly.
If your car for some reason doesn't start, you don't need to get a 15-ton or even an electric charge, the equivalent of the weight of the car, to start it, do we?
No, exactly.
Isn't it as simply as battery to battery, boom, cha-ching, it starts.
12 volts.
The whole mechanism. That's really part of what we're talking about, though.
It is truly, because the body is an electric mechanism. If it wasn't for the electronic nature of the body in subtle frequencies, give you some sense of this.
Yeah.
When we look at how the body's operational systems work in these transfers of energy, and we look at Schumann, and this is probably a pretty cool thing. The body, when Schumann's work is figuring out how it was that the body's mechanism for healing and optimum health regulated and distributed this one specific characteristic, that the frequency inside the body for alpha state brain waves, which is where you are cool, you're comfortable, you're at your best, your vitality, all your organs are working perfectly, 7.83 hertz, right? 7.83 hertz is the resonance, body's resonance, the resonance of what it is that the body gets from the planet. And that's the key to it. So I've heard the word planet all of a sudden, right? What the heck does the planet have to
Oh,
do with
yeah,
all
yeah.
this
No, wait
saying?
a minute, because we're measuring. We're measuring humans with the planet. So
That's
I think that, Lou, we have got like people that get what we're about to say, what you're about to say. I'm just going to sit
exactly.
here and listen.
It's so cool. So yeah, exactly. So when we talk about planet Earth, Mother Earth, we talk about what it is that happens, that the healing resonance that is coming, emanating from whatever, right, to the human body to keep it healthy, to keep alpha state brain waves exactly where they need to be, is the actual pulse of the planet Earth. That's 7.83 hertz. It's the healing, the harmonic resonance. It's where music comes from. It's every kind of subtle thing, and it's small, little, tiny amount of energy compared to the enormous amount of energy in the entire universe, but it all works on that level. And here's the cool part. Homeopathy frequencies resonate at 7.83 hertz. Why is the power? If you want to power the planet, the power of the universe in a bottle, we're going to talk about that soon. Here's the cool part. What they found out, there was a group of students in the physics area that wanted to find out more about how Schumann, what was going on with the Schumann resonance, how that would affect human health if they were completely cut off from it, if there was any effect at all, to prove that it actually had something. Because you couldn't put this stuff under a microscope back in the day, back in the 50s or whatever, right? You just couldn't do that. So what they did is they built a bunker with all kinds of shields and concrete that would completely eliminate the 7.83 hertz from getting into the human body. And they said, we're going to go. So the students of this, with their professor, they built the structure. They went in, there was plenty of air and all water and all that kind of stuff, but no possibility that the 7.83 hertz pulse of the planet was going to get in there. In hours, Pat, it's crazy. In hours, they started to get migraine headaches, which they've never had before. They started to feel dizzy and nauseous. Some of them felt so sick they had to lay down. Now, what the professor didn't tell them, which is always what I love, is he decided to have an electrode installed in that area of the bunker, and that after about 6 or 7 hours of that, he put the 7.83 hertz back into the environment, and all of a sudden, they were all looking at each other and saying, wait a minute, what the heck is going on here? Every one of them said, we feel sick, we feel this, we feel that, we feel terrible. And all of a sudden, we're feeling like back to normal and better. And so the issue from a point of that, and that they found, was this profound nature of this most subtle energy, the most powerful energy that comes literally from the planet at pulsing. The alpha brainwave state and homeopathic medicine resonate these frequencies exactly the same. Why are homeopathy? Why is less and more? Because the lesser it is in voltage and hertz, the more powerful it is for the human body based on the whole planetary system, based on the universe. Yeah. So the power of the universe is just coming our door and saying, oh my goodness gracious, I can help you straighten a whole lot of stuff out and make you feel better, look better. Now your libido will be jumping off the charts.
Exactly.
Right? And all the things that we all want and all need for vitality and health, seriously, than we have now. And what did it do? It created the opportunity to look at the balance, the elegance of homeopathy as it balanced homeopathically hormonal levels that brought people back to a state of absolute vitality, health, and healing, and homeostasis. When that happens, and we actually have something that can make that happen now naturally, when that happens, it is astounding how people feel. And of course, the most important thing we're talking about here isn't hormonal imbalance and disease states and throwing stuff around. We're talking about restoring hope and quality of life, that we can touch the very fabric of life and do it the most natural, safe way to bring about those kinds of changes so everybody can enjoy that kind of life process. And doesn't everybody, right? Everybody was born for that, Pat, to enjoy life.
Born for that. But it's like my grandmother would say to me, grandmother would say, Maron, Patrizia.
It's easy.
Use your brain. God gave you a brain. What, Madon, what's wrong with you? And what she's saying is, and what you're saying is, if we go back to how some people believe humanity came to be, and the natural conditions, and the earth, and the perfect wave, and exactly the resonance you talked about.
Yep.
And things were born, and things then grew, and things then flourished. And only when things got off whack, only when the earth itself was adjusted so that resonance could not heal it, meaning meteors, catastrophic, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Only then, but even then, with the devastation of the earth, what still existed? That resonance.
That's exactly right.
Even with the earth being flattened out,
Exactly.
how is it we came back to be? Fast forward to where we are today. We're not hit by a meteor per se, but we are. On my TV yesterday in the Pacific Northwest, I don't know which channel, did a whole study on the toxicity in the food you buy. Why are we waiting to now? So now we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to connect the dots.
Yep.
Because even if you are doing the best you can do, and you're taking your vitamin C, and you're eating your kale, and you're doing all that, are you able to keep up with the level of, how should I say, meteoric events that may be affecting your body, your system, your mind? Because guess what? We do not have a shelter to keep them out right now. That is the world we live in. When we come back, we're going to talk about how do we create this balance? What is now available naturally as it was thousands of years ago? And why are Lou and I so excited to tell you all, get ready, fasten your seatbelt for those stairs you haven't been able to climb, for that ping pong tournament you were just in, and to wake up the next day with no pain. Stay tuned. We're going to take a shorty. We'll be right back. Lou Paradise. And by the way, go ahead and check Lou out. You can do it in a couple of ways, but we want to make sure we send people to New You Lou.
Yeah, newyoulou.com.
And that's NEWUYOU, Lou, LOU.com. We're going to tell you about that when we come back. We'll be right back. Yeah, yay. Lou says, yay. Yay, Benny.
Benny got it going on. I'm telling you.
Got it going on. I'm telling you, right? You never heard me do my hip hop rap. That's for another show.
I love that.
I did hear you sing, Lou. I heard you sing. I tried to get the clip. I don't know if Carter's got the clip that we can play, but today's show, by the way, I'm so glad you're talking about this. You know, for those of you out there, I'm Dr. Pat, Lou Paradise. Lou and I have known each other for a good 15 years because what he created through science, Topperson, saved my life. He's back now talking about another life saver in a lot of ways. And what I mean by that is when you don't feel well, when you can't climb stairs, when you can't do the things in life that you want to do, you feel like you're losing yourself and losing your life, and you don't know what to do to make it better. Today, Lou, we're talking about homeopathy, but we're talking about the knowledge and the science we have about the body. The question is, what do we do to get it in balance? Well, homeostasis. What do we do to bring it back? Now, I referred to the earth, the devastation of the earth.
Sure.
Why was it after devastation, that resonance?
Exactly.
Resonance. Why? I'm not a geologist. I'm not a scientist. So let's have you talk about the body.
Sure. You know, and again, I think the one thing that happens in the human body, and it's oftentimes, and we should talk about why people don't think there's anything in homeopathy also, because I think there's a really good place for us to have homeostasis. The devastation of the earth is a perfect analogy. The earth literally was devastated. All the dinosaurs lived way back in the day. And of course, nature has an expiration date on everything. And it decided that there was time for those dudes had to go. If mankind,
Gotta go.
right? Man's got to come in here, devastated the whole planet. Yet the planet was able to not only revitalize itself, but come back more astounding than it was before. So it burned to a crisp. The whole entire surface of the planet had been jacked up completely. They would probably sun didn't shine on the planet for probably 1,000 years or more because of all the debris in the stratosphere and what have you. And so the issue with regard to the resonance of the planet, the healing processes, how music actually transmits, how harmonic resonance works. Every frequency that goes on is how the body speaks to itself too, by the way. It's one of the reasons why Pandora's does such a great job of figuring out from the musicologists. They figured out, well, there's 450 attributes of how people listen to music. And when you think about how they set that up in terms of how the heck does music get in your head so much, right?
Right.
Hormonal influences and harmonic resonance, and music resonates at this phenomenal frequency. You don't even have to think about it. You walk through a room, and, even look, what did Beethoven do? I mean, talking about, right? How the heck you compose without even being able to hear stuff. And so the resonating part of the body and the frequencies made that possible for them to predict within 70 or 80% of the time in accuracy what would make a song popular. And that's why if you listen to Pandora, it gives you song after song after song. You tune into a specific genre of music, right?
Yeah.
They got a rock and they got, oh wow, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And you're just listening delightfully.
Well,
right?
why do you think we created an entire network, soon to be 10 channels, Total Transformation, Positive Talk Radio? 50 years ago, people thought we lost our mind.
Right,
But,
exactly.
and we have been measured vibrationally. People
Right.
have looked at our sound waves during the shows and
There you
measured
go.
them.
Exactly.
We had a competitor grab one of our banners and put it on a music station. Listen to this.
Wow.
You're going to love this.
Yeah.
We didn't know it. Took our banner, put it on the #1 Seattle music station, and they had to take it down. Why? We had a click-through rate of 7 times the national average.
Wow.
So it is about this,
Exactly.
though, vibration.
Exactly. These vibrations. And when you look at it from a point of perspective, and just a little tidbit of the rest of that whole musicology, and in fact, they have a music gene, believe it or not.
Oh.
Scientists decided when they realized these kinds of events were going on to do something the opposite. They said, wait a minute, what if we look all the way down to DNA and we attach musical notes, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, to the frequency that DNA is talking to the cells, like homeopathy is talking to the cells, the very genetic compound talking to the cells. They were able, Pat, this is so cool. They were able to create music from someone's DNA by the musical notes they attached to the DNA to literally have a sound of a sometimes even a symphony, a little concerto that actually came out of a living body by the nature of this resonance and what happens. So I want to go back one step. So people often that are confused by homeopathic, the symptoms are not conditions, an extension of a condition like you would think in a medical sense, where if you got a symptom, you want to nullify the symptom with some chemical. That is the opposite of what really has to happen. Homeopathy and the resonance of the body and symptoms is speaking to that, saying, hey, I want to heal. I want to get to this place of balance. All these little nanocurrents and chemical compounds that are little molecular cellular structures. That's why this is a cellular thing. This is not a macro thing. This is a micro thing, microdose, micro environment, so on and so forth. So there's nothing in homeopathy. It can't possibly work because after all, oh my God, it's too diluted. One of the things for me that my study and my background was in hormonal compounds. Oh my goodness, what the heck is that? Hormonal compounds. We've been talking about imbalance and whatever. Metabolites, microcirculation, and lymphatics. Because my goal was, after I'd gotten injured in the Marine Corps in combat duty, the Topperson came about because I needed to help my body heal the damage in my hands and my elbows that had caused my issues. And I realized that the whole homeostasis, the whole idea of balance and resonance was the most important thing that I can do. And I had the elegance. I can't help that word. To me is just magic. Elegance of homeopathy says something about how this structural lesser compound can be so powerful. Well, if we look at my work in metabolites, in progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, in things like vitamin B12, for that matter, as a metabolic part of the functional thing, and we look at the resting blood work, and we look at What level do hormones actually start affecting the human body? It's astounding, Pat. It's not in milligrams or micrograms. It's in picograms, 1,000th of a gram. Give you a sense of it. The parathyroid hormone starts to affect the human body at 10 picograms per milliliter, which is equivalent to what? Oh my God, here comes homeopathy right down the line. 11x, 11 dilution, 11 potency. And I can go up and down our brain neuropathic when we look at free estrogen, when we look at estrogen and testosterone. 200 picograms equals 9x, 12x, 20x, 25x, get to the magic number, 30x. All of these things from a point of how homeopathy, and one of these some phenomenal natural homeopathic blockbuster products that we've come into contact with that has 3 medicines in it that are 6x, 8x, and the one 30x, which is the one that delivers and that resonates. The power of the resonating to speak to the pituitary is 30x. And when we look at all of the body's metabolisms, all of its estrogen, how it starts to come to affect the body, that's the level. So when people say there's nothing in homeopathy, we just blew that out of the water.
I don't know how we can say it, because I got to go back to grandma. One of the things, and just to be clear, I want to break it down to something that everybody is familiar with: chicken soup.
Hey, baby.
Let's talk about chicken soup, and let's talk about for a minute what doctors and researchers at Duke University, by the way, are saying. So if people don't like the word homeopathy, let's give them a couple examples.
Yeah.
There's nothing more homeopathic than the ingredients that grandma puts in the chicken soup. The onions, they bust out inflation. The carrots, so here we are living with the knowledge of homeopathy, and chicken soup is just one, right?
That's right.
There's a very good reason grandma creates pesto that is so green, right?
That's
so
right.
Every day we're getting these. And I got to tell you, up until I got into a long-term relationship, I used to put olive oil on my skin at night. But this is really what we're talking about, is bringing these things that are known to us back in a new way.
And and that's a great example. Now, a lot of people, it's kind of macro micro, because what goes on in chicken soup that's incredible is you got to stir it. You excite the compounds that are actually the most important antioxidants from the molecular small structural parts of not only the chicken, but what do we put in chicken soup? What do we put in turkey soup? Why does that stuff work? Because the bones are in there. Bone broth comes from that. Molecular little tiny bone broth. And so that stirring starts an excitement of the molecular structure. It's as much a homeopathic process as much as is it done in a laboratory, but the microdosing, the benefits of it, the benefits of bone broth, which is just astronomical, all has been that way since doctors used to visit the house. What was the first thing they said? Because they didn't have anything in their bag except smelling salts and some adrenaline shots and maybe some penicillin and sulfur way back in the day, and a stethoscope and a tongue depressor, and that was it. And what do they tell you to do? If you had the flu, put the cold compresses on. Don't be doing aspirin. Don't be doing any of those kinds of things. Put the cold compress. Let the fever bring this thing out. Power of homeopathy. Everybody knows what the flu is, right? Just go back one thing, because the flu and chicken soup kind of go together. I'm just thinking about something. Power of homeopathy. Everybody knows if you say something like a flu pandemic, right? Everybody's saying, oh, dude, somebody definitely got jacked and got sick, right? Flu pandemic. Well, in 1918, there was a gigantic flu pandemic. The doctors that were treating the patients conventionally, 80 to 90% of those people died. They gave them aspirin to lower their fever. They kept them inside. They didn't bring them outside. They didn't understand how to help them. And of course, that's a scary thing for doctors to be in that circumstance with such a powerful mechanism as a flu, which is a little tiny thing. Talk about something small that can affect your life. You take a look at the flu and you look at that, right? The homeopathic doctors, remember, homeopathy was a medical model back in the day. There was 18 prestigious schools of homeopathy. A doctor graduated from homeopathy. He was like elegant medicine walking down the street.
Yeah.
Because they were curing people of all sorts of stuff. Enter homeopathy in the flu pandemic. They gave people baronia and gelsinium, some of the stuff that we actually use in Topperson products, by the way, and
Yeah,
some of the
yeah,
stuff we
yeah.
use all the time. They brought them outside. They brought them outside. So what happened was the earth had an opportunity to give the resonance. Vitamin D worked on their metabolism. Their fever was productive and broke all of the feverish things and broke down the virus, because the fever is the only thing that really kicks virus in the butt. And 90% of those folks came to the
Yeah.
point of recovery. When they exhumed the bodies of those people who had died on conventional treatments, they found they had no lungs. And the reason was because inflammation doesn't stop. It was an overabundance of inflammatory response because you lowered the fever, which is the protective fever, little tiny fever, kicking the butt off the virus, not available. It caused inflammation to such a ravaging thing that it literally reduced and liquefied the lungs in those people. That's why they died.
Yeah. Well,
People,
I mean, this is really the reason to set the stage for this is because now we know that one of the things that is clearly being depleted right now in our bodies is something we need most. You know, if in my case, I discovered it in my illness and, you know, growth hormone, I
yeah,
discovered, you know, what
absolutely.
was at risk. For those of you that just text me and ask me for the science behind what I said, yes, Mount Sinai did a study, just real quick to tell you, 1978 report. It was published. And what they said was in a placebo study, just so you know,
Yeah,
the function of the chicken soup improved the protective cilia. And so, yeah, you can
that's
go
right.
Google that. And then there's another one in 1998. So that was a placebo study.
Right.
No, I didn't make it up. It's really true. Lou and I are researchers, by the way. We don't
And we're
make stuff.
Italian.
But let's get to the human growth part of it,
Yes, please.
because I had not heard of it at all
Yeah.
until I wasn't well in '04. And not
Gotcha.
many people did. But let's
Absolutely.
fast forward to where we are today.
Yeah.
And let's talk about natural and what the role is and how it has an impact on the resonance and everything we talked about here.
One of the things from a research point of view and why Topperson is so astounding and is parallel, this is what would intrigue me about this product when we discovered it. We have somebody who had a brilliant idea, who had 14 years of research, putting something together that was actually for athletes to help and encourage them to get off steroids, believe it or not. Phenomenal work by this man. He understood something like we did about synergy. We have to have multiple medicines in homeopathy to make it really powerful, make it work. So one medicine synergizes the other and gives the power and the resonance to bring the body back to normal health. So the pituitary is this phenomenal healing miracle hormone, really. On our growth stages, of course, human growth hormone is essential to develop out the human body to adulthood. And it depletes over time. It's not non-existent. It just doesn't come to the point of being able to easily come to to excrete and or to deliver the human growth hormone. Now, it's involved in every single metabolic function in the human body. So it's important for sleep and muscle mass and burning fat, cardiovascular health, brain health, reproductive health, all these things that are essential about human growth hormone. Human growth hormone protects the cells and the chromosomes all the way down to DNA. So when we don't have enough, we start to age. And accelerated aging is really the problem, because accelerated aging starts disease states, autoimmune stuff, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So he came up with the solution of a homeopathic version of HGH with a support compound of two other medicines, homeopathically, two medicines for supporting the adrenals, supporting the thyroid, and supporting the pituitary, because this whole endocrine system has to work together. But he did it in such a way, he added some 20 phenomenal botanicals, which have frequencies. They have all kinds of plant phenols and antioxidants and things that act within the framework of a delivery. And it's transdermal, just like Topperson. It's a transdermal. You put it on your skin, it goes into the microcirculation. It stimulates the protein and activators of all the cytosites and everything else to balance and to encourage and stimulate the pituitary to release exactly the amount of human growth hormone you need for your specific body, not what somebody else needs, because everybody's different. This is the beauty of this. This is the elegance of this product, that it helps the adrenals to support, the thyroid to support, the pituitary to support the entire function. What does that do? It wakes up every metabolic function in the entire human body, because all of these hormone releases are chemical messengers that do all the work to transfer information about how the cells replicate. How they replicate faster keeps you healthy and younger. How they replicate slower, it starts to decay and aging. The human growth hormone is essential to protect genetics all the way down to DNA. It's the only homeopathic product I've ever seen in my life. Now, I've been at this a long time, that not only delivers something that is exactly what we need and to me, here's the deal. My work is in fighting against, or fighting to promote and support a sustainable healthcare model. Every tool we can use, like this product, which is one that is going to be astoundingly off the charts for people who need to have hormonal balance without the injections, without the cost, without the danger, without the risks, and feeling better, looking better naturally from the body, naturally releasing these phenomenal hormones in balance and in elegant balance. And that's what this other product is.
Well, what we're talking about is very different than what people have heard about human growth hormones in the headlines. You know, we now know that there are studies that talk to the effects, the positive effects of this done well, done naturally and not abused. But now we're talking about something different. We're talking about something that's natural, and we're talking about the absolute impact of it. The way you described when we started the show, it's like getting your charge to a battery. It's something that is used naturally to get the resonance and balance to keep the body working and operating the way it's meant to work.
Absolutely.
So tell us more about that. I know we've got a few minutes left, but I want to talk about it and not confuse people about the human growth hormone that you see in the headlines versus a natural, what we're talking about natural here.
Yeah, human growth hormone injectables. I mean, there's problematic things with those. This is a very different thing. This is the reason why this very brilliant researcher and product developer came up with this solution. It's like, if we go down the street and we run, our car's running well, and then all of a sudden it's bogging down, and it's like, it's all, the more we put on the gas, the more it feels like we're putting on the brake. And what the car needs is what? A tune-up. Right? It needs spark plugs, or it needs an oil change, or it needs injector cleaners, or whatever the case may be, for the optimum health and vitality of the car to run optimal be best. This is like giving your body a tune-up. It's resetting. So it isn't one that stimulates artificially something that should not happen. It starts to reset all the frequencies, all of the metabolic functional frequencies of the cells talking to each other, so that optimum health and vitality is a natural thing. Now, are we going to still age? Well, of course. If somebody said, I got some way to reverse the aging process, well, lots of luck to you. But if I'm going to be able to age in such a way where I have vitality and strength, and my muscle mass is right, and my cutie and my eyes are feeling really good, hormonal imbalances cause cataracts, cause macular degeneration. Here we have a natural transdermal product. Use it twice a day, period. It doesn't have any odor or smell. It's elegant. When you put it on your skin, you feel, oh my God, how good that feels. And all of a sudden, you get restorative sleep. You start to dream. When people get in dream states, you're dreaming, you're in REM sleep. And we're not in REM sleep. Why is that important? Because at night, our body repairs every single living piece of tissue, trillions of cells and organs, when we are at sleep. So when people don't sleep, they don't get the energy boost of the healing process. And then it resonates. And all of these things, magnificent, elegant medicine in this product, 20 botanicals, phenomenal triad of the kind of homeopathic medicines needed to balance everything, to help the body go back to being what? The miracle it was intended to be.
Yeah. Lou, I want to just say this, and we're going to do a lot more shows on this.
Yes.
When I was doing my research back in the day, let's just say, I came across a study with a university that was a sister university. Since then, the article has been published. And the article goes back in 2008, 2009, maybe 2009. And this is a science. This is an academic article. And it's called The Effect of Topically Applied Human Growth Hormone on Wounding. On wounds.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not going to go over the study, but in the end, because look, you can read the whole thing but go down to the end where it says conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
The results of this study suggest that topical application, right, of GH in this study can be used to facilitate wound healing. How? What?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about what you're talking about, a natural application.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about what the discovery is in the last minute we have left.
Sure.
And why this is like a trigger, and how can people find out more? Because this is the first of many we're going to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because this is it's complex and beautiful subject matter. The idea of the hormonal levels in this natural way of being able to produce something on the skin, in that case for wound healing, what it does is wounds have to heal in a sequence of order. And there's a certain number of phases it goes through. When we have human growth hormone establishing regeneration of tissue, it reestablishes nerve tissue, muscle tissue, every single thing that's important within the framework of the skin, subcutaneous fat tissue, the microcirculation itself, all reestablishing itself because of the fact that human growth hormone affects all of these mechanisms. So the effect and the positive nature of those kinds of processes, the power of being able to get your hormonal compounds back into the right order, sequences, the balance, this elegant nature of healing and optimum health, all starts right there. So we have a natural compound with all these wonderful homeopathic medicines, botanical ingredients, facilitate balancing the body to its optimum best. You want to be the best version of you. You want to have no more brain fog. You want to be able to wake up saying, oh my God, I feel better. I'm feeling vitality, hair. I mean, I have all the women and men we know that are using this product. They're saying, oh my God, look at my skin. And people saying, what the heck did you do? I just saw you 2 weeks ago. So this works relatively soon. We don't want to oversell the expectations of the benefits. Who doesn't need this? There's not a soul in the world. If you've suffered and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? You want to get something that's going to bring you back to health and vitality, the hope of getting better, the quality of life you want and you enjoy and you were born to have.
Yeah.
This is the kind of approach. Why do we endorse this kind of approach? Because this has been my work for 30 years, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
And I don't see other products like this. And this is one of the brilliant design. And I think
we're going to talk more about it. Now, let's just thank you for today. I know we've got to run. Give out the website. For those of you on Facebook Live, you've been getting it. Lou has a website. I have a website. Go to Lou's website. What is it, Lou?
Yeah, in this case, it's www, right, .newulou.com. So newulou.com. And you're going to find out a whole lot of cool information about what we're talking about here today.
And by the way, for those of you out there, this is the first time this is being brought to the forefront naturally.
That's right.
However, you can find studies. 2009 was a hot year because women were screaming and saying, I've got to feel better. Thank you. Lou Paradise, everybody. I'm Dr. Pat. Another hour coming up. Stay tuned because we've got way more to talk about when it comes to feeling better naturally. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Vibrant Purposeful Living Radio with Lou Paradise. Tune in monthly with Lou and Dr. Pat on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Living a vibrant and purposeful life is more than a catchy slogan or soundbite. It's a way of being, your new life experience. Lou is your expert for awakening the vibrant life within you. For more information or to listen to this show, visit LouParadise.com.